Good afternoon, YouTube family. As you can see today, I'm indoors. I'm in what you call the woman cave, really. I've had a lot of people ask me, how do I make the bird feeder? So I thought, let's do a bird feeder today. Well, it's not very nice outside. And so yeah, it's a great thing. Now, there's several different ways that people make bird feeders, but this is just my way. It's not professional by a long means, but this is what I did to make my own. I love to feed the birds. I love to watch them out the window. I've also got one of these feeders outside my room here, and I see all the finches and lovely, you know, variety of lovely birds coming to feed on the feeder. So what I'll show you first is what you'll need, but you can do this several different ways, right? The ground in Ireland where we are is very stony, so I should be just putting, first of all, I should be knocking in a fence post and attaching this feeder to the fence post. But you could, if you wanted, you could bury the post into the ground. If that was the case, you'd have to make the post a bit longer than what I'm showing you. The post I'm going to be using is 6 foot and it's 2 by 2, so I'll show you what you'll need to get started. Right, so to get started you'll need a ruler, also a pencil, and some of these very small hooks. This part on the end needs to be very thin and narrow, not the great big ones that you can buy. Now I've got a few of those. I'm not sure how many I'll be using yet, but we'll see. And I've got a drill, just a small rechargeable drill, and this is one of those kind of drills with the little bit on the end that drills the hole, but you can use the normal drill piece. This is a 12mm drill bit. And what else? We need some of these. If you're doing it my way, you'll need some cable ties. These are really strong ones, quite long. What's it say on the packet, how long they are? 560 by 9mm these ones are, so that's what I'll be using. Okay, before you get started, go out and pick yourself some bird feeders. Now, they don't need to be really expensive. I picked up some yesterday, 2 peanut feeders. They were €2 each, and this little seed one, I think that was €3. So I'm just going to be using 3 actual seed feeders on this bird feeding station, but I'll also probably use some of the fat balls on there, hang some of those. So let's get started. Now, on the one that I'm just going to make, I'm just going to show you how to make. I'm going to be leaving a gap at the top like that, for the simple reason is that I want to, in the next video, make a peanut butter feeder to fit on the top. So I need to leave a gap at the top, but you don't have to on yours if you're not going to do that. You'll see when I do it that it's open to change, you know, depending on the size of your feeder and all sorts. So for the purpose of the video, because I haven't got a lot of room, I'm just going to lay the timber on here. Now this is rough sawn timber, like I say, it's 2 by 2. So I think that because of the peanut feeder, I think I'm going to leave, what is that? I'm going to leave an 8-inch bit at the bottom, at the top, so that a very light line. Actually, I should have done it with pencil, but anyway, I'm going to leave that amount there so that I can attach my peanut butter feeder to that when I actually do that. So, but if you're not doing that, don't leave that gap. You can do your holes wherever. So I'm going to start now anyway. So when I look down the side of the timber, the depth of the timber, I want to be going all the way through with my first piece of dowel stick. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you. Right, as you can see, I've gone through that piece. Now we're going to get a little bit messy here, but that's okay. I can tidy up at the end. So basically I've just gone straight the way through with this 12mm bit, and now I'm going to saw off a bit of this dowel stick. Now you don't want it too long, because obviously once you put the bird feeders on, it will start, you know, tilting, if you like. So I've measured what I think will be the perfect size, and I think a 9-inch piece going all the way through is the perfect start for this bit anyway. So I'm going to measure 9 inches, which comes to there. Now I'll just get my saw and saw that off, and I'll be back with you in a sec. Be gentle with that as well, because if you pull it, you might pull some of the stick away. So, right, so I'm going to do some shorter bits, which are 4 inches. So I'm going to do about 4 of those. I mean, like I say, this is open to do it the way that you want, you know, but 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is just the way that I'm doing it. But obviously it will depend on the size of your bird feeders that you've bought, how long they hang down, you know, these sort of things. But it's not complicated, it's so simple. Let's just get these sawn, and then 2 more to go. Right, so that's the start anyway. So I've done myself 2 bits there, 9 inches. And 4 of the 4 inches. What I'm going to do now is just get a little bit of sandpaper and just take the rough edge off of it. And this rough edge is the bit that I'm going to put into the wood first. On the littler ones anyway. So just take all the rough edges off. I love doing little things like this, especially when you see something at the end of it. Right. Like I say, not perfect, but that's it. So what I'm going to do now, the longer piece of dowel stick that I've got, I'm going to put into this hole, and it's a very tight fit, so you wouldn't need to glue it or anything like that. So I've got the first piece of wood through. This piece of wood here is a bit rough, so I'm just going to take the edge off of it with a sander. The sand sheet, I mean. So that's my first piece. I can see it needs to go through a little bit more. Hang on. That's it. So that's that bit. Now I'm going to put the hook on the end of the dowel stick. Now I'm not pre-drilling it, I'm just gently turning it round until it finds the thread. And take your time doing this, because you don't want to split it. Make sure you get the dead centre as well. So that's fairly tight, and face your hook upwards towards the top there. I'll turn it round and do the other side. So find the dead centre and just gently wiggle it backwards and forwards like that until the thread catches on, and take your time with it. You don't want to split the dowel stick. And screw it in right to the end of the thread. There you are. So that one's facing up that way. So far. So now you've got your wood, which is like that, with your hook on each end. So I'll go on to the next bit. If I carry on, you'll know exactly what I mean. Right, so now I've put the first piece of dowel stick in with the hooks on. I'm going to hang my 2 feeders on the top just to see how low they hang before I put another little bit of perch in. So I'll put them both on each side. These are the nut feeders. This one is higher and this one hangs lower. So this is where you can be creative and make your own sort of hanging bits, you know. So I'm going to get a pen, and I've got one more feeder, which is actually a seed feeder. Now I think I'm going to put a little dowel stick in there. So I'm going to make a little mark so that they can get to the peanut thing there. Well, really, you just randomly put your little dowel sticks in. You drill, don't drill right the way through for the little perches, just drill half the way through and knock your perches in. So I've put the other feeder a bit lower on this side, and because I'm only hanging one feeder on this back bit, I'm only going to drill half the way through. So I've drilled a little hole there, and that's where I'm going to put the next feeder. So I've got one of the little sticks that I previously cut. Now I'll put that into that hole, and I'm going to knock it in gently. With that hammer. And again now, the end on. The little hook. Now try to keep it as straight as you can when you're doing this. And like I say, screw it right in until the thread's disappeared. Now these little dowel sticks are plenty strong enough, as long as you don't have them too long, too far out, you know, and even with filled with nuts. That's my 3 feeders on there, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and put a few little, like probably one here, a couple round the back for birds to, you know, sit on when they fly to the feeder. And you can randomly put them where you want, really. So I'll do that next. I'll take these feeders off first. So I'm just going to drill some random holes around the pole, visualising where my feeders were. Actually, I better put them back on so that I know where to mark. Yeah. So I'm just going to mark where I think I should put a little perch. Oh, it's getting chilly. So there you go, so easy to make, and what an addition to your garden for the birds. So you need 1/2 inch dowel stick, 12mm, a 2x2 stake or any piece of wood really, and some little hooks.